Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Quinton Rampage Jackson, an MMA legend by the truest sense of the word, former UFC light heavyweight champion. Rampage, a pleasure to sit down with you, my man. How are things with you today?
Everything's good. Everything's good. How's everything going?
It's everything's good over here on the UK side of the world. How is life in the world of Rampage Jackson first and foremost?
Everything's going well. Everything's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm living life, working hard, enjoying myself.
I caught up on your interview with Ariel a little bit earlier, and you were talking at the beginning your weight loss. I think you said 35 pounds was the figure. Weight you'd lost. Can I ask? I know you said
wait. What'd you call me?
35 pounds was the weight that you'd lost.
Okay. You said 35 pounds was the figure.
Was the figure?
Okay. I thought you said something else. Okay.
No. Figure. Numerical value.
Okay.
What was the key method by that?
You know what? I had to get real disciplined. I had to stay consistent in the gym. One thing that I hadn't been doing since I've been fighting years ago. I used to stay consistent years ago. Then I think all these injuries got older. I wouldn't stay consistent. And another thing I've been doing, I started doing fasting for 24 hours, only eating once a day, and I cut out the sugars and carbs. I eat no carbs and no sugars. You still get sugars here and there every now and then. It's kind of almost impossible to go through life without getting any sugars, but I cut it all out.
Is the one meal a day? Is that the same meal day over day? And if so, what is that?
Same damn meal every day. I like steak, and eggs, and I drink my vegetables, and I eat sweet potatoes with almonds on it.
Well, I love it. Well, we've got you on today to talk about the UFL's upcoming card, UFL 3. The UFL is obviously very unique in what it's trying to offer fighters with the benefits in terms of healthcare, life insurance, and obviously shares in the company. Can I ask, are these issues particularly close to your heart? And if so, what are the key reasons why?
Yeah, these issues are really close to my heart because if I'm gonna be 100, I'm kind of jealous of other athletes like basketball players and football players. They all get pensions and stuff throughout their career after they retire. They've done so much, and MMA, we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? It's like every man for himself. Most promoters don't look out for you and stuff like that, and that's why I teamed up with Harrison Rogers, and why I love repping the UFL because he really cares about the fighters, and he really wants the fighters to do well. And I wish more promoters was like that. I think it's very important for fighters to have health insurance outside of competition. Every fighter, you know what I'm saying, you have insurance while you covered while you in the cage while you fighting, but if you get hurt and training for your fight, then you know what I'm saying, you're not covered. And that's very important. So I really love that about the UFL.
You worked across obviously a variety of promotions throughout your illustrious career. Of those other promoters that you worked under, which ones would you say actually cared about you as a fighter?
I can say Terry Trebilcock from the King of the Cage. He was really caring. It's been times where Dana White sent me to a doctor or something one time, but I don't know if it's because he cared or if it's because, you know what I'm saying, I was on a contract and I make him a lot of money. But Harrison Rogers, I noticed that he really cares about his athletes.
No, that's fantastic to hear. Of those kind of three issues, the very large issues, aren't they? They're not going to be fixed in the sport overnight. But of healthcare, life insurance, and shares in the promotion that you fight under, which one do you think is most undervalued in MMA at the moment?
Most undervalued, I think the shares. Just say UFL find their niche and they grow in a couple of years and they get really profitable. And say if they sell for half of what the UFC did. So let's just say they sell for $2 billion. Let's put the number there, $2 billion. Or they're worth $2 billion. The fighters who have their contract, and they're going to be set. Everybody is going to be set, whether they're a superstar or not. Like in other organizations, only the superstars make the most money, right? So if you have shares in a company and they hit it big, you hit it big.
A lot of the criticism about say fighter pay, that is one of the other issues, is labelled at the UFC. But when you look at say the likes of Bellator, PFL, One Championship, do you think the other companies, the kind of second tier below UFC, do you think they do enough in the fighter pay area?
Well, I can't speak for all those other shows, but when I went to Bellator, I made more money purse wise than I made in the UFC. But UFC, I had a pay-per-view structure that I didn't have in Bellator, but after a while, people wasn't really selling pay-per-views anymore. So that was a non-issue. So I can say that I made more money in Bellator purse-wise than I did in the UFC.
Obviously, on this upcoming card next month, we've got your son back in action, Roger. I believe he's 4-0 as an amateur, memory serves.
Yeah, he's 4-0 as an amateur. This would be his first pro fight. It'd be a big test for him. I think he's having like you know how I go with your. I didn't have this with my first pro fight, because my first pro fight was like a last minute fight. I just got thrown in there, but I think he feels like a lot of pressure. So I can see that I got to stay on top of him these days. Normally when he was training for his amateur, I could just let him go, he do his thing. But now I gotta like remind him and stay on top of, make sure he's getting all his work in, his road work in and everything. So I think he's feeling the pressure a little bit. So let's pray and hope that he does well in his first pro fight, and I hope he comes out victorious and unscathed.
I'm sure he will. Obviously, it's quite a difficult position for you, isn't it, as father, and haven't had so much knowledge. I'm sure you may be walking a tightrope between trying to give him enough information and enough knowledge that you've got, but also not being the overbearing dad in many ways. Is that a difficult situation for you?
Yeah, it's very typical. I don't know what his problem is, but he don't like to listen to me. Like I don't know what I'm talking about or something. I'm not his coach, so I stay away from that area. But I just try to give him knowledge and tell him like to keep his weight down so he don't have a hard weight cut. And I just try to give him a lot of advice in a lot of other different areas, but he just don't like to listen. Yeah, you can get him out. He don't like to listen, and I had to sit him down like, why don't you want to listen? Like, it's not that I was just an MMA fighter, back in the day, I used to be one of the best in the world. There's only one way to become the best in the world. You got to have experience. You got to know what you're doing, and a lot of times I just feel like he does the opposite of what I asked him to do.
If it's any consolation, Rampage, I'm 23 years of age, the same age as your son, and my dad says I don't listen to him. So maybe it's a thing of 23-year-old sons. But nevertheless, what is kind of one piece of advice you maybe wish he'd take, or maybe you think that you would like to impart on your average MMA debutant? What is kind of the key piece of advice? You mentioned there you were one of the best in the world at one point. What is the advice you'd like to give?
To my son or to anybody?
To your son or to anybody, depending on if they're the same piece of advice or maybe different.
Well, one piece of advice I would like to give. Well, it is a lot of stuff that I could say. I don't know which one is the most important, but I'm going to say, if you're going to become a fighter and you just starting out, I would say you have to realize that being a fighter, you have to sacrifice a lot. You got to sacrifice time with your friends. If you like recreational drugs, you got to sacrifice that. You can't be smoking weed or doing drugs and being a fighter. You got to put your head down and just focus on what you want the outcome to be in your career. You know what I'm saying? It's just not like any other career. Like if you doing drugs or you eating too much or partying too much, going out drinking and stuff too much, you're actually helping your opponent beat you. So that would be like the main advice I would like to tell all the young folks starting out. So right there, it's a sacrifice. Your friends might not understand. You can't go out drinking with them every night or every weekend. You can't go out to dinners with them all the time. Every weekend, if you you know what I'm saying, got to be a certain weight. You got to make weight. You know what I'm saying? If your friends don't understand, then too bad for them. Get new friends that do understand. Because when I was fighting in Japan back in the day, I was fighting 6 times a year, and I lost a lot of friends because they didn't understand that I was always in the gym and I couldn't go out to dinner with them. I couldn't go out to the club and couldn't go to the bar with them. You know, I lost a lot of friends. They thought that, oh, you're getting famous in Japan, so you got new friends and you don't want to hang out with others. No, I didn't have any new friends. My friends was the guys that was in the gym, my coaches. You know, I had my eyes on the prize. I had goals that I wanted to, you know what I'm saying, accomplish. That would be my advice to the young folks.
Yeah, no, and that applies in all walks of life. If you've got a goal, then you want to accomplish, then you've got to make those sacrifices 100%. I know you've teased a comeback. I throw on a couple of other interviews, a couple of other podcasts that maybe would like to fight again. If memory serves, Frankmir had announced his comeback. His retirement fight was going to be on UFL 3 with his daughter also on the card. I'm not sure if that's still taking place, but would that be of interest to you to fight on the same card as Roger?
Yeah. I think that's where Harrison got the idea from. Frank Mir and his daughter were supposed to fight on the same card. And I think that Frank Mir's daughter got busy with her wrestling career or something.
Yeah.
So they couldn't make that happen. So Harrison asked me if I wanted to do the same thing. And and I'm done. I'm in talks now with Darrillschoonover. I'm in talks with right now with his brother. His brother hit me up, and I'm seeing if Darrill is interested in fighting. And if Darrill beat me in this fight, I would never call him titties again. Never ever would I even mutter the word titties and him in the same sentence again. In the same sentence, I would never do that again.
I was a very young man when you were in your prime. I was probably in single digits. So where did the beef actually begin? Because it probably has escaped me so slightly.
Yeah. You were too young, man. You 23. Oh my God, I got underwear older than you. It happened on Ultimate Fighter.
So it did.
And, yeah. We was on the show, The Ultimate Fighter, and I can't remember exactly how the beef started. Actually, him and I, we was pretty cool, and let truth be told, at first he didn't mind the nickname Titties, but I think it got out of hand. It got, you know what I'm saying, it just got out of control, and people call me a bully, and I don't believe making fun of someone that make fun of you is bullying. I just feel like I won the what you guys call it in England when you make fun of each other. What you guys call it?
Banter.
Yeah, it's like I won the banter, and so now I'm a bully. You know what I'm saying? The world's gotten so soft, and things got really bad. You know, people started calling him titties and stuff, and now he hate me. But I was going to fight him on the show because he got in my face, and I don't forget that. And I wanted to start this whole thing where I do all my grudge matches before I got too old. You know, just fight everybody I don't like. If I don't like you, come and fight me. And now that UFL is a thing, and I would like to promote UFL and get it more popular because, you know, I believe in the company, right? So I want to do my grudge matches in the UFL. So titties is first on my hit list.
May I ask who else is on the hit list?
We got a couple other people on my hit list. I still owe Wanderlei one more fight because we're 2-2. Too bad Shogun just retired. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I want to rematch with him because he beat me one time when I was injured, and I never got that one. I never got that one back. There's a couple people on my hit list.
What if I said the name Jake Paul? Would that be of any interest to you, or is that just a silly idea from a silly British man?
You know, people keep saying Jake Paul, but you guys got to understand, I still will have to lose another like 80 pounds to fight that guy. You know what I'm saying?
He'd have to come up, wouldn't he? He'd have to go to heavyweight.
Yeah, so I don't think it's worth it, and I don't think he will ever fight me.
Obviously, UFL are trying to change the game. Jake Paul proclaims he's trying to change the game. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on that, but just as an entity in the MMA boxing space, what is your actual opinion of Jake Paul?
On Jake Paul, I think Jake Paul has made boxing exciting during times when it wasn't really exciting. He entertained us during the pandemic and everything. You have to be thankful for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those type of people who always look for something negative to say about people or anything like this. Enough of that going around. I think so many fans and so many people just always look for something negative about somebody, negative to say. So I can say that the only thing I don't like about Jake Paul, I would say, I don't like him beating up the MMA guys. Like, I'm going to go there and watch the fight with him and Nate, and I'm rooting for Nate Diaz. And I think Nate Diaz is going to be victorious. I hope Nate Diaz knock him out because I'm always rooting for the MMA guys. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the only problem I got with Jake Paul, that he beat some MMA guys. Other than that, I got nothing against him.
Talking about boxers versus MMA, obviously a massive fight announced with Francis Ngannou squaring off against Tyson Fury in October. What do you make of that fight? Do you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I do have opinions on that. I'm gonna come out and say this, and I don't mean no offense. I don't mean disrespect nobody or nothing like that. But I just want to keep it real. Boxers are always calling out MMA fighters to come and box them. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's kind of like me calling out, you know what I'm saying, a 15-year-old kid to come and come fight me on the playground or something. You know, something silly like that. It's silly. Like, yeah, you know, you guys kind of seem like cowards though, the boxers to do that, because you won't ever come in the cage and fight us, but you want us to come in a boxing ring and fight you, then say, "Oh, this is for the baddest man on a planet title." No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's like for the best boxer on the planet title, because there's a lot of rules and stuff. There's a lot of things in boxing that MMA fighters don't do. Like, we don't do all the bobbing and weaving and ducking our heads and getting away from punches and stuff like that. It's two separate skills. You know, I think any boxer will have an advantage over any MMA fighter in a stand-up fight. It's just one-sided most of the time. Now, does Francis have a puncher's chance? Yeah, he has knockout power, and he has a puncher's chance. But Tyson Fury is one of the best boxers and one of the best heavyweight boxers in the world right now. And I just think that is I don't think that is a fair fight. I think that yeah, they should do a boxing match, and then they should do one MMA match, then see who the baddest man on the planet is. Because if you really want to think about it, an MMA fight is more of a fight than a boxing match.
Yeah, 100%. Rampage, I've got one final question for you, and I couldn't interview you without asking you this question. In 2010, you played one of the most iconic characters in action history in Bosco B.A. Baracus. I was 10 years of age when that movie came out, the 18. And what I'd like to know was, you were a man who's dealt with pressure all the way through his career in fighting, but did you feel any pressure playing such an iconic character as B.A.?
Oh yeah, I felt so much pressure. I was working with A-lister actors, and they all was really good, and it was like my first big movie. And you know what I'm saying, B.A. Baracus and Mr. T, he was such a huge icon and when in my day, my childhood, and for my community, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure, but normally I do well under pressure, and I decided to make that role like my own and not try to copy off Mr. T. And I was like, you know what, the fans are either going to love it or hate it.
I love it. Rampage, it's been an absolute honor to sit down and chat with you today. I wish you what yourself, Harrison, and Frank are doing at the UFL the best of luck. I truly do. And if you need any promotion from over this side of the pond or anything like that, please don't feel free to call my name. It's been an honour to chat with you today, and I wish you the best of luck with everything you're doing.
All right, kiddo. You have a good day.